Hey, welcome to the Underground Treehouse. I'm Big Kenny Ann. It's guy show time. Now, it's my personal belief that in relationships, men and women have specific roles. It's also my belief that those roles are by divine assignment. And as such, I don't negotiate with them. Negotiating those role assignments could cause havoc in your relationship, and not just your relationship, in the general world around you. One of the things that comedy affords me is the ability to travel the world, and on a rare occasion, I meet people that I keep in touch with, and we may hang out from time to time. One such person was a guy named Pete. Met Pete in Madison, Wisconsin, while I was doing some shows up there, and we hung out. Really solid dude. He had a cousin named Bean that hung out with us that weekend, but Bean was from Orlando, Florida. Well, some years go by. Pete has now moved to Orlando, Florida with Bean. I'm in Orlando doing some shows. They pull up on me. We start hanging out. At the end of the night, we back at their apartment and playing some Madden, having some drinks, doing the guy thing. Phone rings, Bean answers the phone and says a couple of words, hangs the phone up, looks at Pete and says, "Hey, that was my aggressive freak." And Pete and a couple more guys started laughing. And I immediately asked, how aggressive? You know what I mean? Is this like she coming over to do all of us? And they were like, nah, but she really go in with Bean. And I was like, oh, okay. Whatever. So we're sitting there doing our thing, and knock comes at the door. It's Bean's aggressive freak. Now, when she comes through, she's got the here for business attire on. She's got the loose fitting t-shirt. She's got the tights on with the slides, easy access. Let's get this done. I got places to be. You know what I mean? She immediately starts with the little romantic cooing back and forth with Bean, and they exit the living room into his bedroom, which is just a few steps away. After a few minutes, we start hearing the doom, 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 doom. And I'm like, okay. And then I hear her scream, "Do it! Do it!" And I'm thinking maybe this is the freak part they talking about. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden I hear, and I'm like, oh, she's one of those aggressive types. And they do it. And I hear, "Charlotte." And I freeze. That didn't sound like her. I know her voice. She's the one screaming, "Do it." But Charlotte sounds like it's being screamed by Bean. And then I hear, "Charlotte." And it dawns on me that this dude is on the other side of the door getting his cheeks spanked while he screams this girl's name. And it wasn't even a cute stripper name like Diamond or Sasha. It was Charlotte. It was a famous spider's name. And I turned around and I look at Pete and his partners, and they kind of giggling. And I'm like, man, what is this? And they were like, man, Bean get down like this all the time. And this is where it starts to affect the people around you. They whispering. And I'm like, why are y'all whispering? They like, we don't want to embarrass him. And I'm like, what? He should be embarrassed. This dude is getting spanked and screaming his girl's name. What kind of dark dimension have we traveled into since we left the comedy club, bro? This ain't the Pete I know. What happened to you, bro? And he was like, man, Florida different. And I was, yeah, Florida may be different, but Big Kenny gonna stay the same. Can I go back to my hotel? Respectfully. I mean, y'all cool, but if y'all into getting y'all cheeks spanked and screaming women's names, bro, I don't need that rubbing off on me. And so they took me back to the hotel. He was like, "You want me to drop you off at the airport?" And I was like, "No, I'm cool from this point forward, bro." I gave him the little pound, came back to the A, and as a result, I don't really keep in touch with them people anymore. And I hope they will, but I just don't need none of that to rub off on me.